So now you can see we got the Tervigon belly magnetized on there. It's just a pinch fit with the magnets we placed. So you could peel those off, stick it back together, put it away for storage. And now we're going to be moving on to the other guns. The acid sprayer gun kind of has this part that lines up with his rib, so I was trying to put the arm in the arm socket and then just mark it with like a thin Sharpie so I could kind of get an idea of what angle to cut off the end there. It didn't really work for me. I have been having trouble with the arms that are attached, trying to get everything to line up properly. So I put the magnet in there, put it back in to see, and as you can see, there's like a little gap where it should be sitting flush. So I put a little milliput in there, and just squeezed it in as much as I could, wiped away the excess, and then just kept squeezing it in to try and build up the proper angle and fit that I needed there in the arm. As you can kind of see there, it's got a little built-up material, and that's a better angle. So I got the magnet glued on there, and now it fits in really well. While I was waiting for the left arm of the acid sprayer to dry, I moved on to the flesh bore hive. So that's me just kind of lining up, seeing how much of the ball end of the socket I wanted to cut off and at what angle. So same thing we do with pretty much all the monster arms. We're going to mark the magnet. You can use your other stack of magnets, pull it out, and glue it on the end of the socket, centering it. And then, of course, repeat this with the other arm, set them aside, and let that super glue a good amount of time to dry before testing the fitment. So I'm just putting the right arm there, kind of lining it up, seeing what part of the ball of his arm shoulder socket I gotta cut off and what angle I want to do it at. Making sure that it's all gonna line up properly. So then I cut the ball off, just clean it up with the hobby knife, double check with the magnet now in the socket to see how it's gonna sit, and then I'm gonna glue the two arms together where the gun connects. I like to glue the arms that connect at the gun together just to try and save weight, so it'll make it easier for the magnets to hold the arms up. I'm going to do something with this carapace. I'm going to actually magnetize it on in case anything happens in there, anything breaks, any magnets fall out, then I can easily access them and service the model. So I'm just taking a little piece of sprue, and I'm going to glue it in to the top and then to like the back of the neck. While that's drying, I'm going to move on to doing the arms. So just trying to line up the angle with both the scything talons. Cut them off just like every other arm. I'm just trying to cut a little tiny bit, basically just to flatten out the ball, clean it up with the hobby knife, and then you can actually push it in against the magnet and see how it's going to sit, see if you're happy with it. If not, you can see where you have to trim more to get the right angle. That's what I'm doing there, and I'm happy with it, so I'm going to glue the magnets on. So the super glue wasn't holding that center piece as well as I wanted, so I reinforced it with some milliput. Now it's super strong. Glued a couple magnets on. I had some extra milliput, so I just kind of rolled it into some crude cylinders and glued magnets on the end of those as well. And then I'll just stick those on the little spine we created. Make sure the carapace fits without being held up anywhere. And then once those milliputs are dry, I'm going to put some new fresh milliput on, and I'm just going to press the carapace into place and set it aside to dry. And those will stick to the inside, and it'll create almost like a perfect little magnetized carapace. So make sure you allow that like at least 3 hours if you're using milliput to dry. So I left mine overnight to dry, and as you can see, the top one almost worked perfectly, but the front one towards the head just wasn't quite long enough to touch the carapace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that piece, I'm going to rough up the end, and I'm going to put some extra milliput on the end of it. You want to rough it up just so the milliput has like something to grip on or make a better grip on. I'm just going to take another little piece of milliput. I'm going to stick it right back on the magnet, and that back magnet is going to help me suck that carapace in, and then I'm just going to push it into place, supporting the miniature from behind, and we're going to leave that piece to dry for 3 hours as well. So after 3 hours, we can pull the carapace apart and see how we did. It looks pretty good. Just do a little couple test fits there, but I feel like it's nice and strong and not leaving any excessive gaps. So here's the finished product. We got the Tervigon with the crushing claws. Can swap those out with scything talons, depending on which way you want to run it. Then to run them as the Tyrannofex, you just take the arms off, you take the belly off. I keep the little 6 abdomen spikes inside the body with the carapace, so I get those out. I put those on off camera, just because they're a little tricky to do. Put the correct head on, and equip them with either the flesh borer hive, or the acid spray, or the rupture cannon. I take the carapace off, it makes it easier to put the guns that are glued together on. So we just pop that off, pop whatever gun we want on, and put the carapace back on. But yeah, so that is it. Please like and subscribe. If you have any ideas or things you want to see me magnetize, please leave a comment or message me directly. The rupture cannon doesn't want to stay as level as I would like it to. It's a little too heavy. So in the future, I'll make a video on how to fix that. So stay tuned if you want to check that out. Again, please like and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in.